Hey, I'm Dan Harris. To my vast surprise, I have become something of a public evangelist for meditation. In this role, I hear a lot of excuses from people about why they don't meditate. I'm going to go through the top 3 excuses and dismantle them one by one. So, number 1 is people think meditation is baloney. I sympathize. This is exactly how I used to feel. I used to think that meditation was only for hippies and freaks and weirdos and robed gurus and people who live in a yurt and collect crystals and John Tesh and Cat Stevens CDs and are deeply into aromatherapy and wear little finger symbols and use the word namaste unironically. It's not entirely untrue, by the way, but it's largely untrue, and here's why. Meditation has been the subject of an explosion of scientific research in the last couple of years. This research is still in its infancy in many ways, but it's strongly suggestive of an almost laughably long list of health benefits, including lowering your blood pressure, boosting your immune system, reducing the release of the stress hormone cortisol. And here's where things get sci-fi. Scientists have been peering into the brains of meditators and finding that they're in effect doing a kind of neurosurgery on themselves, rewiring their brains for increased happiness, calm, and lowered reactivity. As a result of this science, meditation is now being done in some surprising places, including at major corporations like Google, Twitter, Aetna, and Procter & Gamble, and General Mills even. These are the people who make Hamburger Helper, and they now have meditation rooms in every building on their corporate campus in Minnetonka, Minnesota. Meditation is also now being done by elite athletes, including Novak Djokovic, who won Wimbledon, the Seattle Seahawks, who won the Super Bowl. It's also being done by a lot of people in pop culture, including Katy Perry, the lead singer of Weezer, and 50 Cent. That dude got shot 9 times. He deserves some peace of mind. And perhaps most compellingly, it's now being done by the U.S. military. Both the Marines and the Army are spending millions to study whether meditation can make more effective and more resilient troops. So I think this kills permanently the idea that meditation is only for weirdos. So here's misconception number 2, which is that I can't do it. This is what I hear all the time. Okay, I get it, meditation is good for you, but you don't understand. My mind is too busy. I could never do it. Here's the good news and the bad news. You're not special. Welcome to the human condition. This is the way everybody's mind works. I call this the fallacy of uniqueness. Everybody's mind is out of control. If that were not the case, we wouldn't need meditation. The whole game in meditation is starting over. Those are the key words, starting over. You're going to sit, you're going to try to focus on your breath in meditation, and then you're going to get lost. You're going to start thinking about weird things, and then you just start over and over and over. I'm a fidgety, skeptical newsman. I've been doing this for 5 years, and if I can do it, you can too, trust me. Okay, so here's the third misconception. I don't have time for this. I hear this a lot. All it takes is 5 to 10 minutes a day. I don't care if you've got 17 children and 55 jobs, you have 5 to 10 minutes a day. It's that 5 to 10 minutes of having a confrontation with the voice in your head, that voice that chases you out of bed in the morning and is yammering at you all day long, that can help you in the rest of your life resist the terrible suggestions that the voice offers up, which is basically its job. 5 to 10 minutes when you get up in the morning, right before you go to bed, when you pull your car into the driveway, set an alarm on your phone, and let rip. I think it'll make a huge difference for you. So those are the 3 most popular misconceptions. Now that we've killed them, you have no excuse. Despite what you may have heard, meditation does not involve joining a group, paying any fees, wearing any special outfits, sitting in a funny position, or believing in anything in particular. It is simple, secular, scientifically validated exercise for your brain. You don't have to do it yet, but just so you know, here are the 3 steps. 1, sit with your back straight and your eyes closed. 2, notice the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Pick a spot where it's most prominent. Usually that's your nose or your chest or your belly, and just focus your full attention on the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Now, as soon as you try to do this, your mind's going to go nuts. You're going to start thinking about, what am I going to have for lunch? Why did I say that dumb thing to my boss? Your brain's going to go nuts, and that's fine. The whole game is to notice when you've gotten lost and to start over, and then to start over again, and again, and again. Every time you do that, it's like a bicep curl for your brain, and it shows up on the brain scan. Scientists have found this in the lab. It's also, by the way, a radical act. You're breaking a lifetime's habit of walking around in a fog of projection and rumination, and you're actually focusing on what's happening right now. Meditation is unlike anything you do in the rest of your life. Failure is actually success. As I said, the whole game is just trying, failing, starting again, failing, starting again. Here's my advice. You should be meditating every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. This doesn't require some giant investment. I don't care how busy you are, you have 5 to 10 minutes to give this a shot. I guarantee you it will make a big difference.
Meditation is an ancient technique that trains the brain through the power of concentration. It's like a gym workout for your brain. Archaeologists have found meditation to be 5,500 years old, while only 60 years ago, modern scientists began to study the brains of meditators. They discovered that meditation changes the structure of the brain, making it a lot more powerful. Long-term meditators are often able to develop superhuman abilities like the ability to stay calm in pressure situations such as exams and sport, more original and creative ideas, and excellent memory. An experiment showed that meditating monks were able to dry icy wet sheets in a cold temperature by controlling and raising their own body temperature with the power of the mind. To understand how meditation affects us, we must first look at the most recent discoveries about the brain. In the last 10 years, scientists have discovered that every time we think, feel, or learn something new, a neural connection appears in our brain. Those things that we repeat the most, like a habit, make these connections grow stronger and stronger. And over time, the connections that we don't use grow weaker and eventually disappear. This is why our habits are automatic and we don't have to think before doing them. For example, because you practice brushing your teeth every day, it seems a lot more effortless than washing your dishes after you have eaten, even though both tasks take about the same amount of time to complete. But if you stop brushing your teeth for a few days, it will also begin to seem like a more difficult task. Some neuroscientists have suggested that we don't choose most of our behavior. Instead, it is programmed by these neural connections in our brain. Think about the tip of an iceberg, which is the smallest part. This represents all the things that we can choose consciously, such as solving a maths problem. The larger part of the iceberg is all of our unconscious thoughts and feelings, which cause most of our behavior, like reacting to arguments in the same way again and again, even if afterwards we know it was wrong. This happens because we are not aware that we are controlled by our unconscious emotions. In this unconscious part of our mind, neural connections are strong, so most people don't think they can change how they act and react in situations. This automatic way of acting is what we call personality. But mostly it's just those thoughts, emotions and habits that we have repeated the most growing up and continue to repeat on a daily basis. But this can all be changed. Our intelligence, skills and personality can all be developed through practice. We can literally train our brains to become cleverer, to learn a new talent, or to think differently in situations. So to change ourselves, we need to change our brains by creating new connections and practicing them until they become strong and automatic. This means that stuff that we find hard now will become easier and easier the more we practice it. Think back to when you struggled to read. It would take you a while to get through a sentence, and now it's automatic. You don't need to stop and think about how to read words you already know. You just do it. Amazingly, meditation practice helps us change all of those things by creating new connections in many different parts of the brain, literally making your brain larger in size. So, how do you practice meditation? Well, it's really simple. All you have to do is concentrate on your breathing and allow thoughts and feelings to come and go. With continuous practice, your skills of attention, concentration, and awareness significantly increase. But it's actually quite hard to concentrate on your breath and nothing else. This is because on average, we have about 50,000 thoughts each day. 98% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as we had yesterday, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. Stress, worry, and irritability is a direct result of those thoughts, which are either regrets about the past, which we can no longer change, or worry about the future, which hasn't even yet happened, but we experience stress and worry in the present moment, causing us to behave in very unhelpful ways. The more we worry, the better we become at worrying, which is a negative habit. Overthinking leads to continuous stress, and continuous stress leads to mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Meditation has been shown to decrease the size of the amygdala, which is the fear center of our brain, and this is where all our negative emotions and thoughts come from. It also decreases the level of stress hormone, cortisol, which overall means that you can deal with stressful situations a lot better. During meditation, you also learn the skill of how to watch your thoughts and emotions without reacting to them. This means that with continuous meditation practice, you can significantly change your behavior and even your personality. This can help you to achieve your personal goals because you're less likely to procrastinate or worry about other people's opinions about you. Scientists are still discovering all the other benefits of meditation, such as its ability to make you more creative, better at learning and remembering things, increasing self-confidence, and making you kinder towards other people around you. Leaders of big companies, athletes, and even pop stars use meditation as a way of training their minds. And the NHS now use meditation to treat a variety of mental health issues. It's even been shown that meditation is more effective than using drugs. Not bad, hey? For saying all you need to do is sit still for 20 minutes, close your eyes, and concentrate.
Negative thinking is one of the biggest obstacles we face in experiencing more happiness. But there's hope. Here are 2 strategies based on cognitive behavioral therapy to defeat your negative thinking. The first is to distract. When you're heading into a social gathering and you begin to wonder, what if I don't connect with anyone? Am I even likable? Do something that lifts your mood. Generating a positive emotion will counteract the anxiety you feel. Listen to a song that makes you smile, or take a moment to appreciate people in your life who love you. Positive emotions literally undo the effects of anxiety by lowering our heart rate and muscle tension. We often believe that our negative thinking is true, but in reality, our minds feed us messages that range from mild embellishments to outright lies. Here, we might prefer to combat. Imagine yourself in court. You are the prosecutor, and your negative thought is the defendant. He's guilty, and you know it, but he's pleading not guilty and sticking to his story. Your task is to get the judge to hear your side. So when the negative thought shouts out, "You're not good enough at your job," you need to consult the evidence you have at your disposal to prove it wrong. Argue back with the strongest piece of evidence you can find. For example, "I am good enough," because every performance review I've had has been positive. I'm currently being considered for that promotion, and my boss told me last week how much she enjoys working with me. Bring your best version of a tough lawyer to that courtroom and convince the judge that the negative thought doesn't deserve his or her attention. After all, the judge is you. Both of these strategies, distract and combat, are skills anyone can learn and get better at with practice. Remember, with each negative thought you defeat, you've successfully earned your own happiness.
There's no way a fidgety and skeptical news anchor would ever have started meditating were it not for the science. The science is really compelling. It shows that meditation can boost your immune system, lower your blood pressure, help you deal with problems ranging from irritable bowel syndrome to psoriasis. And the neuroscience is where it really gets sci-fi. There was a study out of Harvard that shows that short daily doses of meditation can literally grow the gray matter in key areas of your brain having to do with self-awareness and compassion, and shrink the gray matter in the area associated with stress. There was also a study out of Yale that looked at what's called the default mode network of the brain. It's a connected series of brain regions that are active during most of our waking hours when we're doing that thing that human beings do all the time, which is obsessing about ourselves, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, doing anything but being focused on what's happening right now. Meditators not only turn off the default mode network of their brain while they're meditating, but even when they're not meditating. In other words, meditators are setting a new default mode. And what's that default mode? They're focused on what's happening right now. In sports, this is called being in the zone. It's nothing mystical. It's not magical. You're not floating off into cosmic ooze. You are just being where you are. The cliche in self-help circles is being in the now. You can use that term if you want, but because it's accurate, it's slightly annoying, but it's accurate. It's more just being focused on what you're doing. And the benefits of that are enormous. And this is why you're seeing these unlikely meditators now, why you're seeing the U.S. Marines adopting it, the U.S. Army, corporate executives from the head of Ford to the founders of Twitter, athletes from Phil Jackson to many, many Olympians, scientists, doctors, lawyers, school children. There's this sort of elite subculture of high achievers who are adopting this because they know it can help you be more focused on what you're doing, and it can stop you from being yanked around by the voice in your head. My powers of prognostication are not great. I bought a lot of stock in the company that made Palm Pilot back in 2000, and that didn't go so well for me. But having said that, I'm going to make a prediction. I think we're looking at meditation as the next big public health revolution. In the 1940s, if you told people that you went running, they would say, who's chasing you? Right now, if you tell people you meditate, and I have a lot of experience with telling people this, they're going to look at you like you're a little weird most of the time. That's going to change. Meditation is going to join the pantheon of no-brainers like exercise, brushing your teeth, and taking the meds that your doctor prescribes to you. These are all things that if you don't do, you feel guilty about. And that is where I think we're heading with meditation, because the science is so strongly suggestive that meditation can do really, really great things for your brain and for your body. The common assumption that we have, and it may be subconscious, is that our happiness really depends on external factors. How was our childhood? Have we won the lottery recently? Did we marry well? Did we marry at all? But in fact, meditation suggests that happiness is actually a skill, something you can train just the way you can train your body in the gym. It's a self-generated thing. And that's a really radical notion. It doesn't mean that external circumstances aren't going to impact your happiness. It doesn't mean you're not going to be subject to the vagaries of an impermanent entropic universe. It just means you are going to be able to navigate this with a little bit more ease.